if I can start with a certain Joe Egan, he's been very vocal in the last few days. Does this come out of nowhere? Do you have any history with Joe Egan at all?
Not interested in talking about those people. Can we move on, please?
Of course. Do you get offers for fights? I mean, people call you out. You've talked about it in the past.
Twice a day, every day. Twice a day, every day. Let's move on. We're not here to do interviews on BS. We're here for facts.
No problem. Let me touch on Tyson. You've talked about his training camp in the past. We're just a month away now. He's been very quiet on social media, which is normally a good sign. How did he get on over Christmas with, probably not being able to have as good a time, let's say, as normal?
Well, he's been professional about it. He's got on with his job. He knows what he's got to do. He knows it's the richest prize in sport. And he's up against a formidable opponent, and he knows what's required. Because last time, whether he could get up for Ngannou, whether he could raise his game for him, that's another matter, which clearly he couldn't. But now the focus is different. Everything's different because there's a lot more at stake, and the winner of this is going to be crowned the biggest superstar on earth. And by the 18th of February, they probably will be the biggest superstar on earth. So, he's being professional. He knows what he's got to do. He knows where he went wrong last time. He's just got to do it. That's from Tyson's side, because he's not a fool. Can't speak for the other people, because if they couldn't get it right then, they're not going to get it right now. So I'm standing by what I said months ago, but I'm not going to bang on about it. There's no point, because it's happening anyway. He's not changed them for anybody else. So let's just make the best of a bad situation, really. And I think he can do that. But Tyson's that good. He can win this fight on what he's got himself. All he needs, Tyson, as a boxer, is to be happy, contented, wind him up, let him go. All they need to do is keep his head sponge and make sure he's got water and wash his gum shield. Leave the rest to him. He knows what to do. Instinct. And he's a vet of his job. And he'll only revert back to what he does best anyway. Because if you've got one style and it's not working, Tyson's clever enough to adapt to what does work. And that's where we're at with it. He's focused. He was out there before the new year. Speaks volumes, doesn't it? But a lot of people will underestimate Tyson. They underestimate him, but this man can do big things. Every time he has a lackluster performance, follows it a great one. So let's just watch this space. Forget about what's around him. Forget about the camp. They are what they are. But they're messing with an all-time great in that kid. An all-time great can do a lot by himself. He's got his brother out there. He'll have his brothers with him. And Shane out there. He's out there. Shane sees things what he don't like. He will be vocal. It's like me. He won't take any prisoners, Shane, when he's out there. So he's there, and let's just see. So it can either be one of his easiest nights or one of his hardest nights. And I think this could be, to be fair, if he gets the eye of the tiger, which I'm sure he has, and believes in his own ability and that desire and burning desire to get the victory, I just don't think Usyk's going to be big enough and strong enough, or, how can I say, punch hard enough to make a dent in him. Because he's been messing with men what can punch like horses kicking. Ngannou could punch like a 15-hand pony can kick, and so can Wilder. When you bring them devastating banks, he's not going to be worried about what Usyk's bringing in the fire department. Brains will win this. The most intelligent fighter will win this. And you're pitted now I'd say two of the most intelligent fighters in this era are going to fight next month. It'll be a great spectacle. And I'm sure, they're going to save up a great fight and make the best man win. And the one who's prepared the best, and the one who shows the most intelligence on that night will get the victory. But I've always said, good big ones on a good night will beat a little one on a good night. So let's just see.
Tyson's not daft. He might talk a lot about Oleksandr Usyk and have nicknames for him and sort of dismiss him, but at the end of the day, he knows what's in front of him, right?
Of course, absolutely. You'd have to be an empty head not to, wouldn't You know, he's got a lot of respect for Usyk, as Usyk has for him. Usyk knows he's in for an hard night. Both men know Usyk more because Usyk knows how good Tyson really is on his A game, and he knows how big he is, how rangy he is. You know, but Tyson, he can deal with them. He dealt with Steve Cunningham, but was every bit as good as Usyk, in my opinion. You know, because he was good and he put Tyson down, didn't he? But Tyson got back up and overwhelmed him. That was 11 years ago. Usyk, he's older than Tyson, stayed an amateur a long time. They've both got miles on the clock. You know, Tyson's a vet, 17, 18 years, fought everybody, had some hard fights. You seen what he had fights get. Look at Wilder the other day. He took the toll. You know, but in Tyson's case, he's got a lot more to offer. And if he hasn't, so be it. Everybody comes to the end of the road. But I don't think it's going to happen just yet. Tyson, when his head's on and training right, 70% will do the job. I've always said it.
Even against Usyk? You think Usyk's obviously not been a heavyweight for too long. He had those 2 fights against Anthony Joshua, his best wins there. But do you think he's actually really been properly tested at that weight yet?
Well, he's been tested. He got knocked out with a body punch of Daniel Dubois, didn't he? That's how much he's been tested. He got knocked out. All this low blow and this, that, and the other. We know all that. If he wasn't being groomed for the richest prize in sport, Daniel Dubois would be the heavyweight champion of the world. He cut him in half with a body shot. That's genuine heavyweight power. He can't take it. But, and here's a but, both them boys, Daniel Dubois and AJ, are not as skillful in the boxing department as Tyson. The two worlds apart. They're both big, strong game men with ability. Tyson is a big, strong game man with exceptional ability. And if that exceptional ability comes in with his size, his movement, his intelligence, Usyk knows he can't win. But anything can happen in boxing. That's why we tune in. But I'm saying Tyson, the ability he's got, the intelligence he's got, the size of his balls, I might as well say it, you know, I don't think Usyk's any bigger. Because it took him 10 minutes to get off the floor, didn't it, again, Dubois? Come on. It took him 10 minutes. You know, and it was only because of Daniel Dubois never showed that killer instinct to jump all over him and waste him. He got old-headed for the next few rounds, and he gave up, didn't he? Give up because it's too hot in the kitchen, and it was only old-headed. He old-headed a young Daniel Dubois out of it. Because if Tyson gets him in the same position, it's over. It's over. But the corner on the Dubois night was lacking in experience. There was, well, brains. They never had any on that night. But the past is the past. All I'm saying is a Tyson on his A game is unbeatable, especially by a blown-up cruiserweight. You know.
And I know Tyson or fighters need somebody in the corner between rounds, just, you know, as you said, give them water, make sure they're all right.
That's it.
But could Tyson, if he didn't, could he just do it himself? Training
yes.
on the night, just do it himself?
Absolutely. He can do it himself. He can do that himself. And that's what makes a great champion. If your man is totally reliant on what you say, there's a problem because he's not intelligent enough. It shows he can't use his own initiative where there's a problem. That's why there's generals, that's why there's sergeants and colonels, isn't there? Because they're obviously the top boys are more intelligent and they can think under pressure. That's why they're generals. You understand me now? You know, Tyson's a general. Tyson's a general. He'll know what he has to do. When he's in front of Usyk, forget the corner. Forget it. Don't care who's in the corner. There's only one good corner man I've seen in recent years. That was Angelo Dundee. Because if he wasn't shit hot, Henry Cooper would have been a victor over Muhammad Ali in 1963. He thought on his feet. He cut the glove within seconds and bought him time he needed to recuperate. Brains. a vet of the job. But, I've always said it. The people, they don't possess that kind of skill set because they've never had to do it. Sugar Hill's an ex-policeman. I think he only had the amateur side of the gym in the trunk. I think Emmanuel just let him play around with the kids and that, didn't he? Teaching them different bits of skills. But he was a policeman, for God's sake. You know what I'm saying? But they can only do so much. Not knocking him. He can only do his best. But at this level, Tyson will revert back to what he does best, thinking himself. He's always thought for himself.
When you sort of picture the fight, and we expect Tyson to win, but when you picture the fight, do you think it might take a few rounds? Do you think or do you think Tyson just goes for it straight away?
No. You can't do that to Usyk. He's too good. You can't just walk over and expect to blitz that man in a round, because that ain't going to happen. That's not happening. And if it does, it'll surprise me, which anything can happen. We know that. But it'll take Tyson a few rounds to work him out, and he'll know what's needed to do the job with him. As Usyk, if Usyk walks over to Tyson and tries to knock him out, well, he's going to have a problem, hasn't he? Both men, when you put two good men together, two intelligent men, the best in the division, pitted against one another, there's got to be a certain element of brains involved on both sides. If there isn't, there's only one winner, the one with the brain and the ability.
If you were Oleksandr Usyk's dad, what would you be telling him about fighting Tyson Fury?
I'm not going to comment on that because it wouldn't be fair to my son, would it? That's a daft question, by the way, isn't it? I'm surprised at you. I'm surprised. Stop clickbaiting. Stop it.
Moving on, I assume you'll be in Saudi Arabia.
Hmm?
I assume you'll be in Saudi Arabia for the fight.
I'll be there. Yeah, of course I will. Why wouldn't I be? He's my son, isn't he? The biggest fight in the world, biggest fight in the world, undisputed championship of the world. Why wouldn't I be? Could you think of a better place to be than Saudi for me?
No, not at all.
Use this. Use that. Use it.
I'm just checking. If you might have said no, and then that would be the story in itself.
Never mind me. I'm on it. Don't worry. I use this when I want.
I know.
I use it when I want to. I'm not daft. But listen, fair play to you. You're trying to get your channel up there, but listen, do it properly. Do it properly. With respect.
Of course. Tommy Fury, we haven't seen him in the ring at least since October. I know there's a new Love Island show. He's too big for Love Island now. I get that, but was he asked about going back on?
I've no idea because I don't get involved with Tommy apart from the boxing side of it. And he's not boxing for a bit now, so there's nothing on the horizon. So what he does with his own social media work, his other lines of business, what he's in with other companies, I don't get involved because I don't know nothing about them. I've no understanding of it, and I stay in my lane. I only see Tommy when he's fighting. And I do go and see him and tell him just to keep ticking over, keep in the gym, because the phone can ring at any time. And he knows that, he's aware of that, but for now he's doing his own thing.
Feels like he's in a great position. He's had a couple of fights back-to-back, Jake Paul, KSI, which I assume made him a good bit of money, a good bit of, good for his profile. If he wanted to, is he in a position he could just say, what, I'm done boxing, I'm done with boxing?
Could do if he wanted to, but he's 24. What's he going to do with the rest of his life? Very boring life. He's been lucky enough to achieve fortune, fame, stardom, and be in the position he's in. But with a father like me, he's going to be grounded. He's got a good partner in Molly May, keeps him grounded, keeps him going in the right direction. The kid's got the world at his feet. He's got a new baby, going great guns. He's got a great relationship with his missus. Things are very, very good for Tommy. If he keeps listening to sound advice and doesn't let anybody get in his head what's just after their own ends, he'll be a great kid. We've come so far, haven't we? Look, we've come in 5 years. He's a multi-millionaire. He's probably one of the most looked at young people in the world. There's only good things can happen to him. You know why? He listens. And he listens to me. He won't let nobody else get inside of his head. He runs everything past me. And I don't know everything. I'm not trying to be the brains of Britain. But I have got my son's back because he's my son. Like you, I don't know if you've got children yourself, have you?
No, not yet.
Well, until you become a father, you don't know what I'm talking about. But when you become a father and you've got love for your children, you'll know where I'm coming from. And I don't cost money. My affection and my will to make them do well costs us nothing. Because I want to be known as a father, but produce kids. And that's worth $1 trillion to me. You know, because everything today is about money in this world we live in. It's a dull thing. Because money and me, I've got no money, don't need any money. If I need money, I'll ask them for it. Because I've done enough in my life to say to them, right, I could do a 50 quid for some shopping. You know, I'm sure they'd give it me. But the way I live my life, I can live it with $10 in my pocket. But the difference between me and a lot of others, I'm extremely happy and contented where I'm at in life. My father, the best heavyweight of his generation, you know, a global superstar. I've done the same with Tommy. I've got another lad, you know, what's coming through now, 3-0, making a lot of noise. He's having his 4th fight on a massive on the 8th, on the AJ Ngannou built, if it takes place. All my other sons have got success. My other son, Newey, he went to 7 and won with 5 knockouts, and he just walked away from the game. You know, he could have been a great kid. So, you know, I've got more than money. I've no money, but what I've got is the bragging rights. You know, I've got superhuman kids, sons, and that'll do me. Worth $1 billion for me.
Yeah.
Also,
You mentioned Rome.
and I can also buy a pint of beer. If somebody buys me one, I can buy him one back. If I can't, I won't be in the pub, will I?
What's your favourite tipple? What's your favourite drink?
Much of it? No, I don't drink much of it. Special occasion. When babies are born, I'll have a brandy. Christmas, I'll have a brandy. I'll have one on my birthday because I don't know how many birthdays I've got left. So I'll celebrate it with a nice glass of the best.
You mentioned Roman and the AJ
Yeah.
Ngannou card. I mean, it's different to look at Ngannou now as it was perhaps before he fought Tyson. But how do you look at that fight? Should it be an easy night's work for Joshua, or should we be thinking actually this could be the end of his?
We can all say this. We can all say that. Francis Ngannou has earned his place in the ring with AJ. Ngannou, what I seen of him, he impressed the hell out of me. And I know what I'm looking at. He gives any heavyweight in the world a problem, if not beats them. His toughness, his gameness. And and you know what? They don't give world titles out to men who can't fight. And he's an MMA world champion. He's the hardest hitting heavyweight in the world. So how can anybody have an easy night with him? He's only got to tap you on the head when you're going down like Tyson. Tyson took a full-blown left hook. Well, I'll tell you what, there's only the Gypsy King can climb to the floor from a shot of Francis Ngannou like that. AJ, I've always said it, he looked very, very focused in his last fight. I know Otto Wallen crapped himself. He didn't come to fight, but you can only beat what's in front of you. AJ looked focused. He looked sharp. He looked, he wanted it. And he's earned his right to have this super fight, what Tyson and Spencer Brown has created for them both, you know. But let me tell you, Ngannou, the 2 Nigerians, it's a spectacle. It's a spectacle. It's a 50-50. If Ngannou clouts AJ with a right hand, it'll be good night. But you don't know. He's easy enough to it. Ngannou is very easy to it. You know, he has good power, AJ. So it's a 50-50. First one to land. But you couldn't write off a point with for AJ.